talking about who's in the room. I think most of us are already introduced. I'm Cassandra. I work for Missions Field, and generally we go around and everybody introduces themselves, but we are all familiar already, as you're well aware. The next slide is our outreach support team. We have Adam, our founder. Erica does all the database and the e-news programming, and Michelle does the paperwork, and I handle the people, my favorite part. The next page is our website. We wanted to make an official announcement. We are now missionsfriends.com. You can still use the missionsfield.org, but we will be transitioning over the next several months and get to talk a little bit more about what that means. And just a reminder, we do have logins available if you wanted to join missionsfriends.com to get access to all of our data and our information that we share with you. You can connect through Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Apple. And we highly encourage, once you do join, that you will edit your About section. This is where you get to talk about yourself and what you hope to gain from others in the network. We are looking for your needs and your strengths. That way we can help you help each other in this network that we're building together in the community. There are additional sections to be more informal, where you can share things like your favorite dessert. More importantly, you can share your ministry description. You can click on your website links in there and post, and please do chat with others. And we have an agenda today. We are a little off schedule, but we're going to catch right up with our evaluate, where we talk about needs from local churches and their possibility to impact families. We'll talk about how we help our partners to equip one another to share resources. We want to empower you to talk about your inspiring stories about how churches have helped lives of families that you know personally. And most importantly, we want to get the missions built in the community. So we're going to be going until 12:30 today. And at this point, I'd like to hand it over to the beautiful Erica for our evaluate session.
Thanks, Cassandra. The next thing we're going to do is some evaluation. We're going to capture the data of local church needs and strengthen our communities. At missionsfriends.com, if you want to help us build our community asset, let me rephrase that. Please help us build our community asset map by going to missionsfriends.com, and you can see where it's circled. It says share outreach needs, and I will take you to a form where you can just answer a couple quick, easy questions that will help us get started with building this asset map and make sure that it's a valuable asset to the community. We're just going to do a little response in the chat. If you can share what outreach is your church doing, or what does your church have as an asset to help impact families in the Lansing area this year? Some examples are mentoring, food pantries, addressing homelessness, ministering and impacting incarcerated individuals, and substance abuse. So if you want to just take a minute to share in the chat some of the things that your church is specifically working on, that would be great. And we'll record that. And you can also, after this meeting, go to church.missionsfield.org, which is where you can access that form that I was talking about a couple minutes ago. Adam says, Bread House has a Burmese outreach ministry. And I did not know that. That's pretty cool that Mount Hope Downtown Campus is hosting Rise House members for an informal Bible study and meal every Saturday. And if there's not anything that anyone else wants to share in the chat, we can move on to the next slide, which is Adam, and he's going to talk about equipping.
Thank you, Erica, and thank you, Cassandra, for all you guys do to get us through every month. So again, my name is Adam Williams. I am founder of Missions Field, where we help churches fulfill missions in their community. And with doing that, we have these monthly meetings where we actually get to highlight a church, in particular that's serving a certain population through outreach locally. And so this meeting is focused on the incarcerated population. Um, and we have a special guest here today by the name of Robert Ferry. Did I say that right?
It's actually closer to the car. It's Ferrari.
Whoa.
Yeah. You were close though. Most people really butcher it. So
sounds fancy. Well, Rob is here. He's from Special Ministry that and it was just an honor to meet him. He actually gave me a tour of where he is a chaplain at the local jail here in Ingham County. The incarceration population in this area is definitely has a big need, and he'll be able to share more about that and some of the things and that has been something that he's been experiencing as he's been serving that for a period of years. And so I can just say that he has a lot of real frontline experience from me just seeing and hearing, not just from him, but even others who worked with him, how he's been impacting their lives, or even giving them, if they're a church leader, giving them real life experience of what it is to really impact those. And so with that, I do want to say there's other churches that, serve that I will just share honorable mention of those churches just now, just so we're aware that there's many other churches that you might be interested in partnering with if you are listening to this or watching this later. But partnering might include volunteering at their church or even just coming in as a guest. I attended a Walk in Truth ministry. They have a youth incarcerated program where they actually the county will, or the detention center in particular, brings the youth to their church. And the pastor there, he has a powerful story of how he used to be incarcerated. And so he's really able to really connect with those youth. And I was able to sit through one of those programs, and it was just powerful just to hear how the youth are engaging in this setting where they're literally just sitting for about an hour, listening to this guy that they don't really know, talk about God and talk about life lessons and values. And so, and just see them hopefully have an impact where they'll be able to transform their situation through the knowledge and information and wisdom that's being shared from this pastor at Walk in Truth Ministry, which is Pastor Tracy Edmonds. And so there's more churches that Rob can even mention too. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Rob because he's really the more exciting person to hear at this time. And Rob, whenever you're ready.
I appreciate that, and thanks for giving me a little bit of time today. My name's Robert Ferrari. I'm with Reach the Forgotten Jail Ministry, which is a ministry that has been around since 1966, starting in Kent County Jail. I am particularly the lead chaplain over Ingham County Jail, but I do oversee operations for the Eaton County Jail as well as the Clinton County Jail. And the big thing with me is the reason I'm so passionate about it is I was formerly incarcerated myself in 2014. I would be what you call a worldly success before. I would even probably have told you in the past that I believed in Jesus, but I didn't put my faith in Jesus. And that got me into a whole lot of trouble. And so in 2014 was kind of the wake-up call. I was incarcerated. And then shortly after that, I went to a rehab facility where I struggled with a stronghold of alcohol. Had a really bad alcohol stronghold there. And it was there after I'd lost my house, my job. My wife had filed for divorce. My kids didn't want to talk to me anymore. It was there that I really got an opportunity to realize that Jesus was all I needed. It took me to Jesus was all I had at that point. And so it took me that to understand that Jesus was all I needed. But really what happened in that moment is somebody actually met me in the muck, in the shame, met me at my worst moment and shared the gospel and told me that God loved me. And in that moment, I felt the arms of God just wrap around me, and I was able to turn it around, not by my strength, but by the strength of Jesus and the strength of the gospel, right? And so I was able to mend that relationship with my wife. We are celebrating 19 years of marriage just a few months back. we've added a few more kids. I got 5 boys. I started an insurance and financial services business, but I started doing a lot of prison ministry and jail ministry just as a way of giving back. And so what happened with me is I eventually ended up serving as a volunteer in Ingham County Jail, and reached, at that time they were Forgotten Man Ministries. They switched to Reach the Forgotten in 2020. But that's when somebody asked me to be a chaplain, and of course my first response was no. But after praying on it and giving it over to God, it was very clear that's where God wanted me to be in the time being. And so I've been a lead chaplain now since September of 2021, and really just looking to bridge the gap between the community, the church, and families to the jail, because all too often we just want to lock them up and forget about those guys. And I'm just so grateful that I wasn't forgotten in that case, that somebody realized I had value and understood the importance of sharing the gospel. And so that's what we do in the jail every day. We try to get volunteers to come in and build relationships, because at the end of the day, relationships is what it's all about. And so my ministry has been kind of given the charge to, as far as from the sheriff in Ingham County, to vet and build those relationships with churches and our community members, to be the gap, to kind of bridge the gap for that. It was such a blessing to actually have Adam reach out, because it was one of those things where I'm just running, and sometimes I just don't have time. There's so much to do in the jail. So Adam calls me up, comes in and explains what he's doing. I'm like, wow, what an answered prayer, because I really do think this is a valuable resource. And I'm not sure who in here is all ministry leaders or pastors and stuff like that. It's really hard when you're trying to shepherd the flock to get out of there and bridge those relationships. And so I'm very thankful for this community. And so the main thing here, and I'm not sure how much time I have, but the main thing that we're looking for as far as a ministry, and specifically in Ingham County Jail, is first and foremost just prayer. Your prayers are felt. I'm actually at a retreat up north right now with 30 other chaplains from across the state. We're reading some letters that are just, God is moving, and what better place than God moving in the jail, right? And so prayer, we definitely need that. Another thing that we need is volunteers, people who just want to serve, and just share the gospel, not judge, right? That's one of the main things there. But just people that have the heart of Jesus, to just wanting to meet people where they're at and share the gospel and let them know that they're still loved, right? So we need volunteers. And the third thing we need is just like any other ministries, we do need financial support. We don't actually take any money from the counties. We don't take any money from government. We're 100% donor funded. And so those are the 3 areas of focus as far as our ministry and being able to supply needs in the jail. I guess one other quick thing is in Ingham County, donations of Bibles are always a big one. That's kind of, there's not really a scoreboard in ministry. It's hard to tell who's actually saved and who's not. That's God's job. We just kind of plant the seeds, throw the seeds out there. But one thing that I do track is how many Bibles we give out. So we're in constant need of being able to get the word of God right in people's hands and letting the word of God do that. And so if anybody out there wants to donate, has extra Bibles, we'll definitely take them and get those out. And so that's pretty much kind of a short story of how I got where I'm at and what we do here. So.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'll talk more about my visit. As you're talking, I just remember, on the outside, because it's a new building, on the outside, it was all pretty, and when I got inside, I still was like, oh, it looks nice, because the lobby looks nice. And then I start to get, a little eerie as we got deeper into the space. It's like, oh, this is really it's a jail. And in a sense, for me, it felt like what I saw on TV, which I would say is a prison. But again, I haven't really been in a prison, so I couldn't even tell you how that looks. But it just felt like, wow, these people are really here, and they can't get out. They're here for a year. I don't know how long, but and then as we walked in, I ran into Pastor Jenkins. I think that's his name, right? Yeah, okay. And his wife. And so And it was better for me to be with them because now I got to experience how it is for a church pastor to then work with the ministry of Reach the Forgotten ministry, because they came in to, I think, minister to one of the inmates there. And as we even walked into the main area, there's two ladies that were trying to get our attention and get the pastor's attention and mine. They just saw the Bibles and they said, please pray. They just kept saying this, pray for me. And one had a sign that said something else that she wrote on there. But it's just like, there's such a desire and a hunger when you're in that low spot in your life for the gospel and for hope. And so I'm grateful that Reach the Forgotten is in there, because it now is a bridge for the gospel to really be shared. And those inmates, I can tell even just from walking in there and then seeing the potential that we would be able to pray with them was already impactful. And so, yeah. And then when I left out, there was another pastor, a couple more pastors from Mount Hope, I think, they were coming to also minister. I think his name was Bob or Bill. But anywho, there was, it's just a good space where there's a need and there's a hunger for the gospel. And that's literally our calling, is to go and set the captives free. And those are the most bonded people sometimes, physically and spiritually. And so I'm just grateful that, Rob is here to share that. Is there any other things you want to share? And is there any other churches that you work with most frequently?
Trinity Church has been an amazing supporter. Their Celebrate Recovery folks have really just jumped in. They do a Women's Celebrate Recovery there. They're doing biblical counseling there. They do two church services a month. New Hope Church has sent quite a few volunteers in. South Church, a couple of their volunteers are there. I feel bad because I know I'm going to forget somebody that's doing great work. But yeah, City Life is a new relationship that we're building. They're coming in, and a couple of their pastors are coming in and starting to talk. 242 Community Church has been donating a lot of Bibles. Yeah, so we've got quite a few relationships, not anywhere near what we want. As far as, you think about how many churches are in Ingham County, and as I go around and try to visit churches, that's the main thing, is like the jail is a part of our community. And 90%, only 10% are going on to prison. 90% are going back in the community. And so if we're not trying to reach those, if we're not trying to bring the gospel to them, then we're really not playing our part as far as helping with recidivism. And so, my job is to make sure that we're preaching the gospel in the jail, but I can't be there for everybody when they get out. And that's really the gap that I'm hoping this relationship with Mission Friends, if I heard that correctly, and the churches that you're building relationships with, that's really my hope, is because it takes a community, and it takes we just had a guy just get out recently, and he's like, I can't go back to my old life. I have nowhere to go. If I go back to my old life, I'm going to be back in here, and he was in there for 15 months, and he gave his life to Christ. And so being able to call people, check resources, have people come along them, have pastors be able to meet with him and pray over him when he got out, it's just such a powerful thing. And it really helps with making sure that, I use the word discipleship, right? That's really what we're looking for. I don't want to just get up and preach the message. I really want to disciple, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of effort. But the great thing is, for anybody who hasn't been in the jail, the one thing that you don't have to explain to them is bondage and the want for freedom. And so when you're starting to, it's just, I remember the first time I went, I just couldn't believe it. And I said, whoa, it shifted from somewhat fear, because my first time was at a prison, and I was in between a war between the Cincinnati White Boys and the Aryan Brotherhood. And I'm in there by myself, and it's a fight breaks out. You're just like, oh. And then all of a sudden, a guy just looks over and says, hey, man, pray for me. Pray for me. And he's wearing a swastika. He's got a swastika tattoo on his chest. And so when he grabbed me, I thought, oh, man, I gotta figure out a way to do this. And then he's just like, no, I need prayer. I want to lead this life. And you're just like, wow, like the gospel, I mean, it changes. I mean, it's just so different. And so I always just tell people, come and see. Come and see. If you just want to tour the jail, it starts there. Just come in and get a tour. It's not going to be for everybody, and I get it, but it starts, it just starts with a tour, and you'll just see for yourself, and then go from there. And so, yeah, that's all I would add there.
That's awesome. And you forgot Kingdom Life. I think you didn't say Kingdom because you reminded me.
Oh, Pastor Boyer, he's gonna get on me now. That Kingdom Life. Well, so there's Kingdom Life. There's Family Life Wesleyan out of Williamston. There's Covenantal Life Community Church.
Yeah.
There's others. It's hard for me to remember all. But yeah, we definitely could use more.
Awesome. And I have one thing I'll share, and then I'll open up for questions. But for this with Missions Field, Friends is the social network. Field is the church consulting and interaction that we do. Friends is for everybody, so anybody who's church friendly. But with that, with Missions Field, we're trying to assess churches, members and volunteers to see where they're at, so then we can match them with opportunities to serve. And so that's something we're going to dig deeper in next year, because we really want to help pastors really have an assessment of who's in the congregation, what are the skills, what are the assets, and the passions of the people in your congregation, so that you can, as you disciple them and help them go deeper in relationship with Christ, you can also figure out how to work with them when it comes to their goals, to reach those in the mission of sharing the gospel. And so, so that's something we're going to kind of dig deeper in this next year. So we do that currently with one-on-one consulting, but we're going to do it as a program following up with this next year. So I'm gonna open up for questions. If anybody has any questions, please, for Rob, or if you want to share something in particular that is relevant. And welcome, Lorraine. Lorraine, are you there?
I am. Thank you.
Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, sorry. I'm actually just dropped my daughter off for the airport. Yeah. And so I've been busy at doctor's appointment with somebody before that. It's just like, and I remembered, I'm so glad I remembered and got on in time to hear Rob's presentation, because I am retired from probation, but I also worked in the Legislative Ombudsman's office, did an internship there. And so I had opportunities where I had to go into the jail, not just the jails, but the prisons. And so that experience of when you go in and they have to, even as a PO, when I went in, they had to lock a door behind me before they could open another door. And then you go in. But I guess one experience for me, because my heart was, I'm here to serve, I'm here to help. I never really had that fear that I know a lot of people do have, but I think my boss kind of helped prepare me for that. So, for those who may think it's really going to be dreadful or whatever, there are ways that you can kind of prepare yourself to deal with that. That is like one of the most vulnerable times for people. They're at their lowest, and the word tells us that the Lord loves a broken and contrite spirit, because he can do something with that. So, and there are some that you'll reach and some that you won't, but we just have to be focused on the ones that we can reach. So I did write down information, because we're kind of revamping some things in our ministry, and it's an area that I would really like to see us get involved in. And I think we probably could easily say we'll probably start out with helping to provide some Bibles, but also providing people who have gone through some experiences who can really minister to those people. So I'm glad I got a chance to hear that.
Awesome. Rob put his email in the chat as well, but also in our e-news report we send out, we'll include Rob's information. Rob, he said you can just share what you just typed.
Yeah, the best way to kind of get the party started, so to speak, is you can either shoot me an email, which I provided in the chat, or give me a call off my cell phone, and just schedule time to come together and do a tour. I'd say probably about an hour and a half is probably the best, given that you just never know what's going to happen while we're walking and talking. But once you see the jail, see the new jail, then you can kind of wrap your head around what it is that maybe the Lord is leading you to do, and then we can have further discussions and see if we can get something working out for. Cassandra's asking specifically about a women's recovery group, so yeah.
Thanks. I do have your information. Thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, I'm gonna take that as a no. So we will, this part of the meeting, we kind of share any resources in the community relevant to the topic. So I will quickly share that we have an event coming up November 3rd, for those who aren't aware, where we're working with government leaders to honor church impact in our community in the Mid-Michigan area. And so whatever outreach story you have or impact that you would like to share, you can simply go to our URL, missionsfriends.com, and then you'll be able to get a ticket that's a free ticket, in particular if you select church story. It's only 3 questions. You fill out the survey, and then that gets you the free ticket. If you don't want to give a ticket, give a story or fill out the survey, there is an option for a paid ticket as well. But our goal is to honor the impact of the church. And so in doing that, our goal is to hopefully get people to actually fill the survey out so they can share, maybe have a good report for the mayor and the government leaders to see how the churches have been impacted on this past couple of years. In the narrative of the event description, it does say throughout COVID and beyond, just to kind of give a mind frame of how, even if it's something related to COVID or not, that's fine. But the goal is, again, COVID has been a big challenge for the community. And that's something that government leaders are funding around, as well as focusing on when it comes to issues in the community, because it was a pandemic. So that's just a way to get, people's attention, but really it could be any story of outreach, whether it's incarcerated, schools, youth, whatever that might look like. And so that's just, again, a reminder for those who do know, but again, information for those who don't, that again is going to be at Lansing City Hall. It's going to be dinner from 6 p.m. till about 7:45 or 8 o'clock. And so then we'll also be praying for government leaders who are in attendance from the state down to the city. And so, all right. And so also additionally, I believe Cassandra shared some grants in Missions Field in this past month, but there's grants that have been released. If you go to our missionsfield.org or missionsfriends.com, same URL, you'll still get to the same destination, where you'll be able to look at our sections that says grants and find a calendar of grants. I believe one is live right now that Cassandra has shared. There's another one coming out, I believe, next week. This is also a grant that I'm also part of. So there will be more availability for support. I'll say that in the sense of, I know that last year, Eastside Community Action Center, which is Friendship Baptist, I believe is the name of the church, that they got awarded that. Oh yeah, Friendship Baptist probably has worked with Rob too. I'm assuming, I don't know. He's everywhere. And so
Eastside Community Center is Pastor
Stan Parker.
Stanley Parker, yeah. But his church is, oh man, what is his church? It's
Faith
not
Fellowship.
Friendship.
It's
Faith Fellowship, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, it's so many fellowships and friends and kingdoms that I sometimes mix them all together. But so again, that grant will be released in our social network as well as if you really want to be directly contacted, always feel free to reach out to any of us. But my email, you should have it if you're a part of this meeting. If not, we'll get it to you, but it's director@missionsfield.org. But yeah, these grants, again, are just opportunities to fund what you guys are doing in the community. We believe that support is valuable, and resources are valuable, but more so, those who don't need resources. There was a church that I was working with once who said, oh, we don't need grants. We got money. We got lots of money, which is good. But I'm like, the money is not really the biggest need. It's about the relationship that you have with the funders. Once they see how much little money they seeded you and how much of an impact you were able to do with that money, then there's a value of the church being able to do something with a little bit. So it's more about showing how churches can make an impact. And there's reports that grantors collect, that the state collects, and they are looking for how the faith community and sectors are going to be part of the collective impact of our community. So with all that to be said, that church then kind of, the outreach leader in particular from that church then understood more of why it's the value for them was to at least be a part of a grant process. So again, to ultimately have a report of how the church has impacted. And then they, I don't know if they followed through with it. I know they followed through with the partnership I connected them with, but at least they had a better understanding that it's not just about the finance. So, and also I love that when I go to these different spaces, I'm on multiple boards in the community, and I get to talk about what churches are doing, and people are familiar with it because of their connection, like Faith Fellowship Baptist. A lot of nonprofits are, it's like at least 3 of them I can think of have known Pastor Stanley Parker because of his church's nonprofit and the work they do in the community. So, and they're always applying for grants. And then the beauty of that, you get to hire. If you got more money, the more money you got, the more you get to hire non-believers, then share the gospel with a disciple. There's so many benefits of I guess getting a grant, I have to say, getting support. So feel free to definitely also, if you want to consult with myself or we have about 8 other consultants that we work with for different topics, but we can help you find resources as well, and then navigate through how to utilize those resources and strategies. And so, all right, with that being said, I'm going to move forward in the meetings. I know that somebody was going to join us from the city to share some information, but we'll just probably take a moment for them when they come, if they come. So I'm going to go back to the slideshow so we can get back on task. And bear with me. And Cassandra, is it Cassandra next or Erica? I think Erica's next. So I'm gonna pass it over to Erica.
Me next.
It is. Thank you again, Erica, for helping us get through let me see where we're at. Since it's on this picture, so this is a slide for the dinner, but so you have a visual. I'm a visual person, so hopefully that helps remember the date. Again, we'll send this out in our e-news that will be released in the next couple of weeks, along with this recording as well, and any other information that's pertinent to this meeting.
Next, we're going to talk about empowering, highlighting stories of churches who are impacting the lives of families. The first thing we're going to do is a little breakout session. So during this breakout session, what you can talk about is one thing you plan to do with what you've learned from this meeting, or one recent outreach testimony. And there's going to be 2 people in each breakout room. So the first person will take like about 2 minutes to share. And then we're going to have the second person take about 2 minutes to share. And shortly after that, you can click to come back to the meeting, or you will eventually be teleported back to the meeting. So Adam's going to split us up into breakout groups, and here we go. I hear the Jeopardy song playing in my head. One last reminder before we go, either or both, just what you're going to do with the information you learned today, or an outreach testimony.
Hey, Adam, real quick, don't put me in a group. I'm being called. They're doing the final prayer over all the chaplains, so I got to get going. I will be a part of this group going forward, though, and just thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate that. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I was just saying that it'll automatically let people join the rooms. That's all. But thanks again for all you do, and we'll follow up.
Yeah, no, let's follow up. Let's get together and grab some coffee. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
You too. Hey, Lorraine, still there? All right. I don't know if Lorraine, you can still hear me or not. Okay. Well, we cannot hear you if you can hear us, Lorraine.
Nurse testimony. As long as it wasn't too deeply personal, like if you guys found yourself caught up in a moment and shared your deep dark secrets, you know, we're not trying to air the laundry out. But if there's any, would love to hear a testimony.
Well, I was sharing with Adam about our ministry. We get bread from Panera's every day, and it's really an awesome ministry because we do serve people in with different organizations, you know, recovery programs, um, children's homes where children are, and that kind of thing. And so something that really stood out for me is, as a result of us going in and getting the bread and meeting with people working in Panera, a couple was interested in what we were doing, and they decided to, one of our pastors more or less discipled them, and they have actually become members of our ministry, and it's been over a year now. And they've come in, and as a result of meeting us from a serving capacity, they came right in serving. So you know, that was something that I thought was probably worth mentioning,
Praise
because we
God.
just don't know. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That is a great testimony of how the work paid off fairly quickly and resulted in church members that are not only discipled, but already ready to give back. So that's exciting.
And yes, yeah. And we hope to have more of that.
Amen. Is there anything else that anyone else wants to share? And if not, we can move right along.
Well, could we share maybe what also we're doing or anything we have coming up for outreach?
Yes, I think this is today's meeting. You know, every meeting has its own flavor and vibe. We can't help that. This one got a little derailed, so we might have officially missed the part where you guys get to share your upcoming events and volunteer opportunities and other resources that you have available, either as a nonprofit for churches or as a church. So I will start. The organization I founded, Jubilee, has an event coming up on Saturday. It's called When September Ends. I'm going to put the webpage in the chat. So, Pastor Tim will be there. He's going to do a set of comedy and make us all laugh. And there's going to be a whole lot of other fun, exciting things going on that day if anybody happens to be free. The other thing that I would like to mention at the church I attend, Lansing South Church of the Nazarene, we're starting a 6-week grief support series, which I, with 2 other lovely people, facilitate and lead. That will be Monday nights, and the first one is October 2nd. If anyone that you know is missing a loved one and would like some support for healing and growth around that. So that's all I have to share for today. If anyone else has anything they would like to share, the floor is open.
What time are you meeting for the grief support?
Grief support is 6:30 to 8 at Lansing South Nas.
Okay. I guess I can follow up. We also talked about something Adam's helping us with. We're going to be kicking off Random Acts of Kindness in October, where we have designed cards that each member of the ministry will have, and then we welcome partners, anyone that would like to join in with us, and where we will participate in these random acts of kindness. The goal is at a minimum one, I think it's per week, or maybe it's per week, at least one per week, but hopefully it'll be one per day, for people. But to, just ways that the Lord leads you, opportunities that are presented. And on the card, they will be able to scan a QR code, and you can stand there with them and allow them to watch a video where Pastor Terrence will present the gospel and give them an opportunity to understand God's love for them, regardless of their circumstances. And if they're unable to scan that and pull it up, then we're encouraging people to do it with their own phones, or just encourage them to take the card and to notify us when they have seen the video, and ask for ways that we can be a blessing to them. But initially, just if it's helping somebody with their cart on the way out of the grocery store, just little things, that ways that can touch the lives of people, that can bring a smile to their face or make them feel like they've been seen. So that we are going to be doing a campaign from October through the end of the year. And then we also, usually around December, we do laundry, coins for clean clothes, and we collect coins, and it's such a blessing because people donate so much that we have funds left over from the last time that we did this, and we served a lot of families at that point. But we collect coins, and then we go into the laundromat and we just give them money to do their laundry, and offer the opportunity to pray with them, and also to let them know where we're located, and to let them know that we have access to other ministries with resources, so that if there's a need, we can direct them in the right place.
Thanks, Pastor Lorraine. If my memory serves me correct, I am accurate in calling you Pastor Lorraine.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we've been at South Nas for your singles conference and so forth.
Yes, I remember. So I think that's a great way that you've incorporated an actual human interaction in person along with the technology. Like, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? Yeah. Is there anyone else that would like to share?
Yeah, I can go ahead. Emily will definitely be mad at me if I don't. So we're doing a big women's event on October 14th called Self-Defense and Jesus, because they go together. And so we've got some karate people coming in to teach some really basic self-defense moves that anybody can do, even if you have no athletic ability and you're as out of shape as I am, and all that kind of good stuff. And then I guess I'm doing a little 15-minute routine of comedy to women, which should just be a complete mess. and we're going to have refreshments, some vendors. It should just be one interesting evening. So we want to promote that. What we do in the community, for those who watch this and don't know, we're a downtown church. Downtown area is struggling. I believe most of the downtown churches are really struggling. So we're trying to revitalize the church, revitalize the our little part of downtown, and get people into the church that have never really had any interest. We're trying to create a safe place we really have a heart for people that have been hurt by churches in the past, or for one reason or another, they just have kind of a antagonistic view towards church and God, and we want to show them that Jesus is awesome and church is great, and that they have a place that they can come and figure all that stuff out on their own. And then we use comedy as a way to try to get people to come into the door that wouldn't come in any other way, and just to kind of look around and see that it's not a scary place, and that they're welcome there, and to get to know us and that kind of thing. And so we'll have a lot of, I think we've had some pretty big acts come in the spring, and I think this next fall, we're just going to be scheduling a lot more local people, kind of up and comers and stuff, just to get people in the door. And then we don't have to sell as many tickets to break even. So once we break even, we just want to give tickets away to people that live around the church. We've talked to the apartment building right across the street that unfortunately we don't have anybody attending from, which is sad, because it's our mission field. And so we're just going to use the extra space to try to get people in that way. And that's us.
Awesome. Hey, I was just checking the chat to see if you guys had mentioned it, Tim and Pastor Lorraine. I don't see what churches you guys are from. I was trying to connect, but
we are Christ Community Church. We're two doors down from the Capitol. You got the big Capitol, and then you've got Central Methodist next to that, and then we're on the other side of Central Methodist, Christ Community Church.
Awesome, thank you. So just a reminder, you can use our your profile section. You can put your church in there, and we also have an events page. Because I was checking to see if either of these several events that are getting mentioned so far, I'm only seeing Erica's. But we are happy to share those events if you guys make them available. I do a lot of sharing for people in the community just to help people get their events out. So I'd love to have access to that. If maybe I could find Christ Community Church on Facebook.
I believe Emily had put it on there, but she may have not gotten to it yet. The self-defense event.
I think she did, actually. I would need to double check before I said it as a fact, but I think it's in there.
You might have made it as an article.
Mm.
And I'll make sure that we get ours on there. So I'm under Pastor Terrence King at Kingdom Ministries and Christian Celebration Center Church on Miller Road, 3000 West Miller.
Kingdom
But we will
Ministries.
be sure to do that. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I follow both of your churches, but I don't know why my events don't, I don't know how to use Facebook. That's why I like our network, because I can just jump right on there and see events instead of all of Lansing's events. There's a lot I don't do. But
okay,
cool. Thank you.
Sure.
I will love to share these two events that kind of connect in style and nature of Kingdom Ministries and what's the name again of your church, Pastor Paul?
Christ Community Church.
Christ Community. I like it. Mm-hmm.
Only because I was about to say so many different other community Christ versions. So thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
Similar names. But so one in particular, just because Pastor Palmer spoke recently, thank you for the visual, Christ Community Church. I know that Sycamore Creek Church has a new site called Peppermint Creek Theater in the Eastwood Town Center. They're launching and doing a ribbon cutting tomorrow at 4 p.m. Additionally, the Friday they have a special guest of artists and actors from the Hamilton play and many other different. There's so many. It's like he had such a big resume. I just remember that one the most. And then Saturday, there's a bunch of local artists that will be performing. And there's like literally, I saw like this catalog, a collage of different artists. And so that is all happening. Just an honorable mention. I know it may not make it in the time enough for our e-news, but I know that theater, they're doing the same concept of trying to bring people in who are not used to be being connected to churches through the arts and through theater. And so additionally, so that's happening this week and pretty much Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There also be opportunities to be a part of any other events they have in the future, but their website, I believe, is Peppermint Creek something. We'll put in the e-news. And so with that, the second and last thing is City Quake is happening at Mount Hope Church. City Quake is it's pretty much a random act of kindness conference that is worldwide. Wait a minute. Make sure my computer doesn't die. But basically that's happening at Mount Hope Church October 18th through the 21st. There's a few speakers there that will be talking about their stories, but the goal is to share a testimony of their life and how they've done it, and they've done it with other groups. And then the break period, which is kind of like a lunch period, strangers are encouraged to partner up and just go out and do random acts of kindness, and then come back. There's stories, powerful stories that are shared in the second half of the service that are of people who never done this before and had this experience. And that's over the course of 4 days. And there's a free option and a paid option. People are encouraged to pay, but you don't have to, by saying you might have a financial hardship. But the goal is ultimately to get churches and congregates to do. And we will use the word random act of kindness, but really they use the word power evangelism, which is going out and loving on people. Their former conference was called Power and Love. And so meaning you love on people and they encounter God at the same time. And so additionally, they have something called the Aftershock, which they work with churches for, I think, 8 weeks to have this done at their own church. So I think Kingdom Ministries is ahead of the game with the Random Act of Kindness campaign or initiative that they're doing. But this conference kind of trains people how to do it and gets them excited to see the impact and this so many testimonies. I can't even go off of so many I've heard, but Cassandra said she found the event awesome. So with that being said, I just love that it just relates to the thing that you guys mentioned and how ironic that is. I'm glad you guys said it first, but at least I'm more excited now to share it because God is clearly doing stuff in multiple spaces that are similar. So, and hence why we really do need a calendar that is really church outreach focused. So we can all support, connect, and celebrate together. Anybody else have anything else to share? Or I can get back over to Erica. Thank you, Cassandra, for all the links.
Okay. Are we gonna go back to our slideshow? We did that. We did the breakout. We can check that off our list. And this is my favorite part. It's the guy, it's not a silhouette because it's from the front. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I need a vocabulary lesson. But there's the guy there that's dark, and it's because it's you, and we need you to share your testimony in our database to help empower the other laborers in our mission field. We have this section in there. It's called Outreach Stories and Reports. You can just go in there and you can type out a few sentences. You can share a video in there. If you've had press coverage, you can put the article in there. You can write your own article. There's lots of options. And if you would love me, or you would like me to like help you with that, I'll come sit beside you and we'll figure it out together. So just want to encourage you one last time to share your stories. And I'm going to pass it back to Cassandra, and she's going to close us out with some prayer.
All right, so real quick, if anybody, I mean, it doesn't have to be quick, but at any point you want to enter in your prayer request into the chat box, please feel free to do so. We do look this over after the meeting ends, and I take note to make sure I'm praying for you as I go out back to my real life. But dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for the opportunity to be able to gather together with fellow believers who are doing the kingdom work in this missions field of Lansing and the surrounding areas, God. We are seeing you creating a network that is making pathways for growth in churches and for growth in ministries, God. We ask that you would pour your blessing out into the people that are a part of this network specifically, so that we, as the staff at Missions Friends, are able to reach them in a way that empowers and equips them, God, so that they can find the places in the community where you are calling them to shine a light even stronger, God. We are so grateful as the staff members to be able to share with them our tools and our skill sets that we have each developed both personally and professionally, and I ask that they would be utilized to serve your kingdom purposes here on earth. I thank you for the members that have joined us today, and I pray that they would take something from this meeting that they can use to propel them forward in light of your kingdom work here on earth, God, and in this city that we call home. And I thank you for the work that you're going to continue to be doing. I thank you for Adam's vision for this that you have placed on his heart, that every meeting going forward will continue to be fruitful so that we can serve and, as he always likes to say, develop our character that is godly, that honors you, and that represents you well in this city. Thank you, Jesus, for all that you're doing. And as we all go on about our day, may you watch over us and send angels to keep charge over us so that we can continue doing your good works. In Jesus' name, amen. That's all we got.
Amen.
Hey, anybody have any follow-up questions before we let you go?